Live from the campus of the United States Sports Academy in Daphne, Alabama, this is Sports Talk USSA, a weekly broadcast brought to you by the Communications Department at the United States Sports Academy. I'm Dr. Arthur Ogden. I serve as moderator, and each week we have a panel of guests from the faculty and staff to come discuss certain issues in sport which are contemporary and germane. This morning's panel consists of Dr. Steve Butler, who is our Dean of Academic Affairs, Dr. Brett Simmermacher, who is our Chair of Sports Coaching. And we have them on here because they are probably the most expert people on our staff when it comes to Major League Baseball or baseball in general. I don't know of anybody whose mind is more crammed with baseball facts than Dr. Butler. And of course, Dr. Simmermacher played baseball at University of South Alabama, and he's been a college baseball coach at a number of institutions, most recently at New Mexico Military Institute in Roswell, not Area 54. Well, we're coming down, gentlemen, to Major League Baseball pennant time. We have a little bit more than a month, maybe 4 weeks to go, and it looks like the only team that really has anything locked up, unless they fall apart, is the Kansas City Royals. They've got a 13-game lead over the Minnesota Twins in the AL Central. But everything else seems to be kind of catching up, and they all seem to be in pretty much of the same kind of bailiwick. When you take a look at in the other divisions, the Yankees, the Rangers, the Washington Nationals, the Pirates, the Giants, all are within striking distance for the pennant, for wild cards. But like Yogi Berra says, it ain't over till it's over. So we're going to discuss a little bit today about what you gentlemen think of where we are and where we could be. And I know we've got several statistical records here of where everything is. And then we have the ESPN experts who picked. So we'll start off with Dean Butler. What's going on? Who's going to win it? Where are we?
Good question. Well, first off, although I am a Giants fan, we can eliminate the Giants because it's an odd year. They only won the World Series in even years. In all honesty, I don't think they're going to catch the Dodgers, and it appears that both wild cards are going to come from the Central. The Cardinals, the Pirates, and the Cubs. One of them will be a division champion. I believe the other two will be wild cards. I think the Mets are going to win the East, and I think the Dodgers are going to win the West. And if the Dodgers win the West, it could be dangerous because we've seen in the past where you need to have 4 or 5 good starting pitchers to go through a 162-game schedule. We've seen lots of times in our lifetimes where a team with 2 good pitchers is able to go through the playoffs.
Right.
Just a few years ago, it was the Arizona Diamondbacks with Kurt Schilling and Randy Johnson. Mm-hmm. When I was a youngster following baseball, it was the Dodgers with Koufax and Drysdale, and then whoever else could fill in as a third starter there. But in the American League, for some reason, although, if you look at the Toronto Blue Jays record right now, they actually won last night, so it's 73-58. Mm-hmm. They were 50-50.
Wow.
So, it's that tells you what they've done, and the way they've done it, they just pounded the ball. And I know a lot of people ask. I know one of your questions on here is what's going to win it, hitting or pitching.
Yeah.
And if you look at hitting, the Blue Jays have been phenomenal, and I'm a hitter and Brett's a pitcher, so I know he's going to say pitching. But I think in this case, I actually have to agree with him. I think that what we've seen in the past is that pitching has been what's dominated. For example, look at the Pirates and the Cubs. There's a really good chance that the one-game wild card will be Chicago at Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. And if Jay Arrieta pitches like he did Sunday night on Sunday Night Baseball, the Pirates ran into the same thing last year. One-game playoff, Giants at Pirates. Madison Bumgarner goes a complete game shutout, and the Pirates are done.
But the Yankees are breathing down hard on the Blue Jays. I mean, they're only a game and a half out.
The only thing that worries me about the Yankees is their pitching staff is very young, so to speak.
Or very old.
Yeah.
Like CC Sabathia.
Yeah, and he's on the DL right now,
Yeah.
15 days. So,
I left the American League up to you. Go ahead and take your pitching back.
Well, the American League is wide open.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, right now you have 9 teams within 8.5 games of the wild card. I mean, Cleveland is on as hot as anybody right now. They got rid of what I've read from people in Ohio, being from Ohio, 3 of the cancers on their team, in Bourne, Swisher, and somebody else they just got rid of. And they've went on this 6, 7, 8 game win streak here, and now they're 5 games back in the wild card. But I think I think the Blue Jays are going to hang on, and they may be the Royals of a couple of years ago or even last year. But I think the Royals are going to win the Central, and I think
they ought to. I mean, they're 13 games.
well, they're 12 now. They went down to 12 today. You know, last night they lost or they won, but
Minnesota picked up a game.
yeah, Minnesota picked up a game on them. You know, the Twins are going to be right there, but I really think it's going to come down to the Cardinals and the Royals in the World Series.
We did that once in the 80s.
Right.
Was it 85?
Yeah.
The I-70 series.
Yes.
I think that I like the Yankees, you like the Blue Jays. I think they're both making the playoffs.
I think so.
I think whoever doesn't win that division will be the wild card. And I also think Houston and Texas are both going to make the playoffs. And then I think Kansas City comes out of the Central. So you could have a wild card.
You're saying Texas will be a wild card.
I'm saying one of them will be a wild card.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever, I think.
Because Houston's got a 4-game lead now, 5-game lead after last night.
Right, but Texas has been, other than Toronto, Texas has probably been the next hottest team over the last month or so. I don't know what the record is the last 10 games was 7-3, but they made a run. Plus, Josh Hamilton's getting ready to come back from his off the DL, and if he's anything like 80% of what he used to be, he could be there.
And the reason I like the Cardinals is because Wainwright's on the DL, Holiday's on the DL. They just keep winning.
They're 40 games over 500.
Right, and they just keep winning.
They're on a pace to win 105 games.
Yeah.
At their current.
Without 2 of their top players.
I guess it wasn't Antonio Russo, huh?
No.
What are they 86 and 46 right now?
Yeah, they won last night. So they're 40
So they've
games.
only got 14 more games to win. They're at 100.
But, I think when it gets to those type of games, playoff big games, it always comes down to pitching and defense.
That's what I was going to ask you.
And I've always been told, and the old adage is, good pitching will stop good hitting any day of the week. Sometimes you get the bear, and sometimes the bear gets you.
Yeah.
Depends on how tired they are too in that bullpen.
Right.
And one of the interesting things we've seen in the last decade or so is that the teams that clinch early oftentimes lose that momentum, as opposed to the teams that are fighting for that last playoff spot down to the last 3 or 4 days of the season. We've had several wild cards. Giants last year were a wild card, won it all. There's a few more examples since '95, but it seems sometimes that the teams that have to fight up to the bitter end go into the playoffs with more momentum. Now the advantage of clinching early is you can set up your pitching rotation exactly the way you want. Like if like last year when Madison Bumgarner pitched the 1-game playoff, he wasn't available until game 3 or 4 of the division series.
Well, and plus you get, if you clinch early, you can rest some guys and get their legs under them. There's a lot of advantages to clinching early, but here again,
It depends on how the staff handles it.
Yesterday was the call-up too. So
Right.
they could increase their rosters from 25 to 40. And a lot of people don't like that concept because they think that that's, you play one way for 5 months of the year, why you should play a different way the last month of the year. And I even heard one prominent major league manager say that he's okay with the 40-man roster, but it should be a daily 25-man roster. So, you put.
That's interesting. But, this all came about in the CBA. When they wanted to add people at the end because of they're playing so many games, these guys are they're afraid of injury and fatigue and so forth, and that's when it all happened. So last time at the CBA, this is when they negotiated in this issue about adding towards the end. So it really, really helps.
There was a cool thing on the local news last night. They were talking to the manager of the Mobile Bay Bears, For those of you that don't know, the Bay Bears are the Double-A team for the Arizona Diamondbacks. And before their game last night, they were in the clubhouse watching the television, and a guy who I can't remember his name, but he started this year in Mobile, made his major league debut, and they were all in the clubhouse cheering and yelling for him. That's pretty cool.
Well, we all remember when Peavy played for the Bay Bears. He was all fired up.
He got ejected last night, by the way, and he wasn't even playing.
I know. Okay, let me ask you guys this. Of these teams you've mentioned, which team, let me toss out a couple. You got the Yankees, Texas, the Astros and the Rangers. You got the Mets, the Nationals, the Cardinals and the Pirates, the Dodgers and the Giants. Which group has the best pitching staff of all of them? I know they got a lot of good pitchers, but we talk about pitching is going to really make the difference.
I think if you go 4 deep, it's the Mets.
Yeah. It's pretty tough to argue against them.
Well, I was going to say that's what the ESPN experts are picking too.
But like we said earlier, I don't think you really need to go 4 deep in the playoffs.
Well, plus the other variable that's thrown in there with this 40-man roster, every year it seems like some nobody that hasn't played all season steps up.
All of a sudden, there he is.
I hope a young man that I coached in the prospect league up in Danville, Illinois, from LSU, Nick Rumolo, was just called up to the New York Yankees. I'm hoping he gets an opportunity.
Yeah.
You can sit there and say, "Hey, coach that guy."
That's pretty
one
cool.
of those deals. But you just never know. You never know who's going to be called on.
And we've just had in the past 2 weeks we've had 2 no-hitters.
Right.
I mean, something's happening here.
Yeah.
Something good's happening here, I think.
Yeah, and we talked about how important pitching is. I think one of the really interesting things at the end of the season is going to be who wins the Cy Young Award in the National League.
Who's in the lead now, guys? Yeah, it's up in the air, isn't it? It's up in the air.
There's really Jake Arrieta. He leads the league in wins.
Right.
I think Madison Bumgarner gets a lot of after push from last year's playoffs. I think Greinke and Kershaw kind of split the vote for the LA folks, and any one of those 4 would be awesome.
Yeah, there's so many good pitchers and so many great arms out there. I mean, it used to be that the average major league speed was 85, 86. And it's got to be 90, 92 now.
And now they're making movies about these guys going over to India and finding a couple of guys who can throw.
Right.
Is that crazy?
$1 million arm.
$1 million arm. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
It's
And they got to throw the ball playing cricket.
Yep. Right.
And cricket's kind of salty, I think, if you really play it. I mean, you've been to Malaysia, and you've been to Malaysia. I've been to Botswana. I've been to Bahrain and Malaysia and Jamaica. All of them obviously influenced by the Brits. All of them have really good cricket teams. And I went and watched a cricket match one time, and I thought, ooh, these guys are serious about this. I mean, those strange kind of bats look like fraternity paddles.
Yeah.
You can go watch a cricket game last 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, I know. It's really quite a party. Tailgate party the whole time. I know.
Let's make our predictions.
Yes, please do. I want to hear it from the experts.
Okay, I'll start with the American League, and I'll let Brett go first and Ashley. I think in the American League, it's going to be the Yankees win the East, Kansas City wins the Central, Houston wins the West, and Toronto is number 1 wild card, and Texas is the number 2 wild card.
So you're leaving Blue Jays out completely, huh?
No, they're going to be the wild card.
They're going to be the wild.
Okay. All right.
In the National League, I think the Mets are going to, with their pitching staff, are going to continue to win the East. I think Cardinals are going to win. Where it is right now, I think those 3, Mets, Cardinals, and Dodgers, I think the Pirates and the Cubs are going to get in.
I picked exactly the same as you in the National League, by the way.
Yeah, and then the American League, I can either it's the Toronto and the Yankees are both going to get in. I think.
I agree. I think Toronto and Yankees both get in. Texas and Houston both get in.
Right.
And then I kind of he said he liked the I-70 World Series with Kansas City and St. Louis. I'm rooting for the Pirates, okay? But my son goes to college in Pittsburgh, and they've got the prettiest baseball park in America, in my opinion, at PNC Park. But I'm rooting for the Pirates. But I honestly think it's gonna be Toronto and the Dodgers.
There you go. You heard it right here. You know what I'm worried? I just have to add this. My old buddy Billy Bean got the Oakland in the bottom cellar now. What happened to Moneyball?
Well, you know, last year, the one-game wild card between Kansas City and Oakland, when they made the playoffs, everything that Kansas City did to win that game was exactly the opposite of Moneyball. I mean, exactly the opposite. Stealing bases, taking pitches. I mean, everything they did was, you know, another good thing that you and I need to mention here is that there's a really good chance that Josh Donaldson's going to be the American League MVP.
Right.
And he's an Auburn guy.
Yeah, he is an Auburn guy.
But
That's
he's
right.
from Mobile and played 3 years at Auburn.
Mhm.
He's by far the 5 years I spent at Auburn. I had season tickets to the baseball games. He's by far the best player. He's done he might not have been the best player at Auburn, but he's done the best in the pros since
That's
he
the
left
best
Auburn.
thing, yeah. And Tim Hudson, and there's a good bunch of them. Tim Hudson and all of them were in there too. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Now you are all educated as to what to look for when it comes to the rest of the month as we head into October and the playoffs. We'll be back again next week at this time, and of course tomorrow night we actually begin college football. Good lineups too. A lot of people are picking North Carolina to beat South Carolina. That's TCU and Minnesota. That's going to be another tough game. At any rate, we're getting into football season. We're getting into the playoffs for the Major League Baseball. Thanks for tuning in, and thank you for sending those emails to us to make some suggestions about what we should do. Send them again to sportstalk@ussa.edu, and we take a look at them, and we come up with some really, really good programs as a result. So for Dean Butler and for Dr. Simmermacher, this is Arthur Ogden, wishing you a great day in sport, and we'll see you next week.